This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Hey, good morning and welcome to Wednesday. It is the Morning Drive on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com with Craig Wells, who is in for Jamie Lent, and Ben Portman, who is in this morning for Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. They're working. They're just not working with me today. Yep. So we've got plenty to discuss today on the Morning Drive. We come to you from the First United Bank studio. Take your thoughts and comments on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Visual Edge IT hotline. It is open at 806-771-0973. So we'll have baseball on the air for you tonight. The Astros and the Nationals from D.C. at 5:15, and then the Rangers and the Angels, game 2 of 3 from Arlington tonight here on Double T 97.3. The Astro game, of course, on 100.7 The Score. Big 12 Media Days continue today in Arlington, or in Frisco, I should say, at the Star. And we'll have boots on the ground coverage again today with Jamie Lent and Rob Breaux and Choice Woodman and Brennan Riker. Just an outstanding job yesterday by those fellas as they had conversations with many folks. And you can go back at your own on your own time, not on our time, on your time, and look at those and listen to what the players had to say, what Coach McGuire had to say. We'll get some more comments from Coach McGuire, and then get some other thoughts as well throughout the morning. But they visited with Sheridan Wilson. They visited with Ben Roberts. They visited with Coach Joey McGuire. They visited with the head of the college football playoff. He had some interesting things to say as well, and so we'll get to all of that today. What was your overview of day one, Craig?
First of all, I thought it was a good day for Texas Tech. And the reason I say that is I thought Brett Yormark put a hiatus to the Tech and Sorsby talks and questions and so forth pretty quick. And we didn't drag that through the mud for the whole day. And I just thought that Coach McGuire did an outstanding job. And Terrence Carter, what a personality. I mean, he was really good. I thought all the players were good. And while I've got the microphone, I will tell you that Jamie and Choice and Rob and Brennan, what a great job they did.
Mm-hmm. Outstanding.
It was
good stuff all day long.
I mean, you could sit there. In fact, I caught myself several times listening to their interviews and watching on the Big 12 network television, and I just was entertained all day.
Okay, well, good. That's the goal.
Yeah,
that's the goal.
Yeah, I was entertained. It was they did an excellent job. But Yormark's remarks, and I'm sure we'll get into some of them, I thought were interesting. I will also got, I'm sure, some comments about some of the questions that were asked.
Yeah, I thought he missed the mark yesterday. I thought he made it worse by not addressing it. I mean, he could have very easily at the beginning, because he was asked a couple of questions that were fair questions, and he made it clear that yesterday was about a celebration of the Big 12. Well, I get all that, but that's the story, and you can put a lot of water on that fire by just answering a couple of questions, as opposed to appreciate the question, thank you for the question, I'm not going to answer the question, basically.
Yeah.
And you know, look, in my mind, the question that was asked where he made the guy stand up.
Yeah.
First of all, that was a clumsy question. Okay, and second of all, to bring in tortillas is just ridiculous. Okay.
Totally agree.
But for Yormark to make him stand up and embarrass him, it's like, what are we doing?
one of the most unprofessional things I've seen in a long time. I thought it was very childish on his part to leave the podium, walk behind it, walk across the stage, and ask him to stand up and repeat his question, and then to sarcastically tell him, "I'll give you the answer I'm going to give you."
Yeah,
and I just.
Again,
the answer was fine.
Mm-hmm.
The delivery of the answer was, I thought, was uncalled for, totally uncalled for. And I agree with you to a degree. He could have given some details about the situation, and without, going into detail, and then told them, "Hey, that's what we're going to say." He could have figured out. He could have answered the question before they asked it, of some information, and then gone on about it. But I'm glad it happened the way it did. As far as
really,
oh yeah, I just thought, what are you going to find out new?
Well, I mean, I guess really what I look at it just from public relations 101 is just. He could have addressed. He had plenty of time. He knew this was going to happen.
Yeah,
he could have prepared a statement. He could have said in his opening remarks, "I know you all have a lot of questions about Texas Tech and Brendan Sorsby and the gambling and everything like that. I understand all that, but here we're going to talk football today. We're talking about on the field football today. But let me kind of take you through where we are with this situation and how unfortunate it is. And this is going to be my statement."
I agree with that. He needed to give them some information.
Something.
I totally agree with that. He needed to give them some information and then move on from it. But because I don't think, unless there's something there, there wasn't anything new to add at that point.
The biggest question I have, and I was thinking about this yesterday. In hindsight, it's always 20/20 when you're not there and you're not on the front row, so to speak. But it's kind of like a Few Good Men when Tom Cruise asked Jack Nicholson, if you said there was no code red, then why did he need to be protected?
Yeah.
Okay. If you're saying that our gambling devices that we're checking all these players is so good, then why did we have a problem?
Yeah. Well, in his statement, he comes back 2 minutes later and says gambling is one of the biggest problems we've got in the Big 12.
Right, and then they've talked about they've re-upped with this firm that just failed them over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Now, I understand that Sorsby did things like using burner phones and stuff like that with his brother-in-law and friends and funneling money, but still, I mean, it took 2 years.
The one thing I think he should have addressed is Cincinnati. That's the thing I think he should have addressed, is the fact that some way explain what the conference in Cincinnati are doing, because it happened and either they didn't know about it or did know about it. One of the two.
All right, we're just getting started. It's a wonderful Wednesday here this morning on the Morning Drive. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to the Double T 97.3 mobile app presented by Happy State Bank.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Here on the Morning Drive, time for this day in sports history. Today is July the 8th, 2026. With this day in sports history, here is Ben Poorman.
And we start in 1935, the third MLB All-Star Game. The American League wins 4-1 at Municipal Stadium in Cleveland.
Municipal Stadium.
You ever been to Cleveland?
I have not. I have not.
Been there once. It was all right.
Yeah.
It's all right. In 1957, baseball owners re-elect Ford Frick as their commissioner. In 1965, Joe Morgan is the first Houston player with 6 hits in a game.
People forget that he played for
I just started to say the same thing.
For the Colt 45s.
Yeah, he's a Cincinnati Red in a lot of people's minds.
No question.
Fast forward to 2016, former Red Raider A.J. Ramos gets his 26th save of the year for the Marlins in a 3-1 win over the Reds. The aforementioned Cincinnati Reds there.
Yep. And one of the few Red Raiders that has been a Major League All-Star.
And just unfortunate that his career got cut short with arm problems.
I will tell you this. When he had his arm problem at Tech, the trainer at that time told me that there is not anybody that put more time and effort into getting well than A.J. Ramos did at that time. He said he worked day and night and tirelessly to get ready. And he said it was a real inspiration for the rest of the team.
And in 2021, Padres relief pitcher Daniel Camarena gets his first hit. In his second career at bat, a grand slam against the Washington Nationals, at the time, Max Scherzer in San Diego.
That's something to hang on his wall.
It is National Blueberry Day.
Love some blueberries.
And National Chocolate with Almonds Day.
I'm out on the almonds.
Not so much.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. Happy birthday to Kevin Bacon, who's 69. Angelica Huston, who's 76. And Michael Weatherly is 59.
NCIS.
Yeah. Yep. Bull.
And Bull. Yeah.
Yep.
And in 1951, Paris, the capital city of France, celebrates turning 2,000 years old. In 987 A.D., Paris became the capital of France, and as the city grew, the left bank earned a reputation as the intellectual district, while the right bank became known for business. Today, Paris is home to some 2 million residents, with an additional 10 million people living in the surrounding metropolitan area.
Would you want to be known as an intellectual or as a business person?
You can't be both.
You can't be both. Not if you're in Paris.
I would say a business person.
Me too.
Yep.
And that's this day in sports history.
All right, thank you, Ben.
You ever notice that the further east you go, how amazing it is that when we talk old out here, we think the dusty days of cowboys and Indians and so forth. They talk old back there. I mean, we're talking old. Like 15, 1600.
Oh, yeah, right. This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Today is my daughter's Sweet 16, Audrin Jones. Well, happy birthday, Audrin.
Happy birthday.
Hopefully he's spelled that correctly. Audryn, Audrin. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, happy birthday, Audrin.
Happy birthday.
And congratulations to you as your car insurance just goes up. And, my advice, with our two daughters, one became, daughter number 2 was a demolition derby expert. And, I just, wrapped a lot of iron around her. Okay. Mm-hmm. And, it did get to a point where I said, because it was always, I would get a phone call and got hit. Okay. Are you hurt? Nope. It wasn't my fault. And then finally I said to her, you're allowed to get out of the way. If you see somebody coming at you, you're allowed to get out of the way.
If you think you're going to get hit, you can move.
Yeah. Oh
we had, being a girl dad myself with 3 of them, we had this conversation last night with 2 of them, mm-hmm. So it was pretty interesting because my granddaughters were sitting there listening. Very, very minimal fender benders, just very minimal. But we had lead foots in our family.
Okay.
I mean, we had some speeders, mm-hmm. and they got caught a couple of 2-3 times maybe.
I can relate to that. I mean,
per purse of them.
I can relate to that. I mean, it's
yep. Especially when they got to college and were out on the highways.
Sure.
Yeah.
I can. I just knock on wood. I haven't had one in quite some time.
Yep.
So I'm kind of due, to be honest with you, for my record. Yeah. I'm kind of due. Let's see. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line, Visual Edge IT hotline is open as well. So the Monster Energy deal is interesting. I find that interesting. The other comments from Commissioner Yormark is him embracing a 24-team college football playoff, and them now trying to analyze the impact, because there are some consequences. Because if you do a 24-team playoff as opposed to 16. You're going to lose your Big 12 championship game, and the SEC is going to lose theirs. And I just, unless the math works, there's no way that you're going to get to 24, at least anytime soon. I think 16 is probably more likely, but 24, I would love it and get rid of all the meaningless bowl games. That's what I would do.
Yeah,
because it just doesn't make any sense to me. For a 7-5 football team to. They call it a reward, but you've got so many guys that are opting out and deciding not to do it, and ticket sales are low, and it's lost its luster. Whereas if you had a 24-team football playoff, man, you think about the excitement level, especially if you have a home game at 12 different sites. My goodness,
you basically have 12 bowl games of the Orange Bowl status and so forth.
Sure.
In a 24-team.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on 24 or 16 yet or whatever. My priority in my mind is they've got to get this schedule. We need to finish no later than January 4th or 5th or something like that. We cannot continue going till the last week of January in college football. Mm-hmm. I think it'd be great if you could finish before Christmas, but I don't think that's ever a possibility. But that New Year's week, to me, as a culmination of the year for football, would be perfect. And I don't know what you got to have get there. 16, if you can get there, or 24.
Well, you've got some creep going on now in with the basketball tournament, because it used to be it was over the first weekend, the first Monday in May.
Yes.
And now it's kind of creeped into the second Monday in May.
Yep. And
it's funny how, everybody embraces a 76-team basketball tournament, but by God, we just can't have a 16 NCAA or, football postseason playoff.
Where's that number, though? We're at 76, 24. Where do you end?
Yeah.
Where do you end?
Of course, you and I can remember, I certainly remember 48. I certainly remember going to 64, but 32, and there were some extremely good Texas Tech teams that were not in the tournament. Yep. If you look at those rafters and see those teams in the 50s and 60s that didn't make the tournament because there weren't teams. There were just 32 teams. Yeah.
We're not adding football teams, but we're adding chances to get in.
Right.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Here on the Morning Drive, good morning, with Craig Wells who's in for Jamie Lynn, Ben Foreman who's in for Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Great to have you with us today. The headline that, because of everything else that took place yesterday, that gets maybe washed over is what looks like is going to be your starting quarterback for Week 1 against Abilene Christian. Coach McGuire basically saying, and didn't even basically say it, he said it, that if he gets cleared, Will Hammond gets cleared on August the 21st, then they'll start preparing him to be the starting quarterback for Abilene Christian.
And he said, as it stands today, right now, with everything the way it is, he will be the starting quarterback game 1. He didn't say might be. He said he will be. Mm-hmm. As it stands today. Of course, there's always something that could change. But
yeah. So,
which is good news. It's
absolutely.
Really good news.
Yeah, absolutely. And the best thing that you could also get out of that is hopefully you get in there and early third quarter you don't need him anymore.
Yep.
That we don't have a repeat of what we had 2 years ago.
And in that same conversation, Chuck, he said in October, Will Hammond is their returning number one quarterback before he gets hurt. Mm-hmm. Then they decide they need to go get an experienced quarterback to get into that room. They didn't say a number one quarterback or whatever. They needed to go get an experienced one.
I know they said that, and they have to say that. There's a part of me that thinks even if Will had been healthy, if you've got the opportunity to go get Brendan Sorsby, you go get Brendan Sorsby.
I don't know.
I just feel like that he's still very young in terms of, and I like Will, and I think he's a great representative. I think there's a lot of upside, but you've got a championship football team.
Yeah.
And they didn't do that a year ago.
Yeah.
You know, they bet the farm on Barron, and there probably was some times where they were like, man, we should have protected ourselves a little bit here, because, you know, he didn't get to throw with the team in the summer, you know, and you had basically 2 off seasons where your starting quarterback couldn't work with his receivers and get timing down and all those things. So I appreciate what he said. I understand why he said what he said. I'm just going to tell you, I think that even if Will had been healthy and Brendan Sorsby was available and you had the money to be able to go get him, you still go get him.
I think it's all according to how Will Hammond performs the rest of the year. I mean, you know,
it's a tough one. It's a tough one, and I know what he said, and I know why he said what he had to say, and I get it. I understand it all. I just still feel like that. I mean, he said he was going to get a veteran to help him. Okay,
and he did.
He did. Yeah, right. Yeah. He did. He got a veteran. Yeah. Okay. He got a veteran. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing that says that you can't have a little competition, right? Yeah. Because competition, what does it do? It breeds excellence, right?
Yeah.
You know. So, but I think that we've talked about this. I've talked to Jamie about this a little bit. I talked to Clint about this. I don't know if I asked you this question on Monday, but I do feel like, and I hate using the word weak, but the question mark position for you going into this season, quite frankly, is quarterback.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. I mean, what was it Spike Dykes used to say? We don't have any hair on our belly in that position, you know, and he's got to be thrown to the fire pretty quick once he's eligible, and as far as health wise, I don't know. I just feel like that they have a lot of confidence in Will Hammond. Mm-hmm. And I think that I don't know that they even go spend that kind of money on a quarterback if Will Hammond's healthy. I just I don't know. And I don't know that Sorsby, I don't think he'd have come if Will Hammond was healthy.
Well, I mean, I don't know if anybody else was going to pay him $5 million either.
Yeah. Well, LSU might have.
Well, I mean, they made their choice.
Yeah.
They made their choice, and
I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know, but I just
that's the question that we'll
never know.
We think we know, but we might not know.
Yeah.
But how about this? I mean, did you ever dream that 2 years in a row you'd have the Defensive Player of the Year preseason?
No. Right. I'll be real honest.
No, none of us did, right? We're just going to score as many points as we can score and hope the defense can hold them to one possession where they don't punt. Unfortunately, we didn't do that against Oklahoma. But A.J. Holmes got that recognition.
And A.J. Holmes was not a starter last year.
Right.
And now he's a preseason defense. I mean, is that depth? I mean, if you can get depth like that, goodness. I mean, good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah. So, you know, you've got him, and you've got, you know, Stone Harrington being named the preseason All Big 12 kicker. It can't be lost. I mean, you don't want him kicking a whole lot of field goals, but man, when you know you're going to need one at some point in time.
Yeah.
You know you're going to need you hope that you don't, but you know that you're going to need one at some point in time. And then and then Terrence Carter getting recognized for offense.
We get 7, correct, on the all preseason Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
How many of those are defensive players, real quick?
I think 5.
You talk about not having even an inch of an idea that 5 years ago that you're going to have 5 defensive players on the preseason Big 12 team. Good for us.
And somebody points out he did start a lot last year after the injury, but
yeah.
So I mean, you can make the case that he was a starter, but I mean, he didn't start off as a starter last year.
That's right. Yeah.
So he had to.
An injury got him into the starting position. So
you've got Holmes and Adam Trick, whom Coach McGuire said people weren't talking about enough. In the offseason,
Yeah.
He was asked who's a guy that's not being talked about enough, and Adam Trick was one of them, and Trey White was the other one. Ben Roberts is on that list for the All Big 12 preseason. Austin Romaine, who's a transfer, but still he's on your team, and then Bryce Pollock as well on the defensive side. So just massive. When you think about it, and then Ben Roberts, I didn't say Ben at the linebacker spot. So there's your 5, and then your kicker Stone Harrington, and then Terrence Carter at the tight end spot. Who I think he could have a big year. I think he's going to have a massive year. He's just got to stay healthy.
Interesting part of his interview, and this was believe his interview with the Big 12 sports station. His number one thing he's working on. Blocking. He said, people think I can't block. I'm going to show them that I can block. And he said, I'm working on it. I'm working hard on it. He said, I've still got time to get better at my route running and catching and so forth. But he said, I'm going to show people what kind of a good blocker I am.
He's going to show the National Football League what kind of a good blocker he is. And that will help him.
That's exactly right.
That we know we can catch the ball.
Yeah.
That will help him exponentially at the next level.
Yep.
And it'll help us, too, this year.
Absolutely. Hey, we've got 3 running backs that need all the blocks they have for them because they're pretty darn good.
Absolutely.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
All right, Craig, you've got
yesterday's Big 12 Media Day started, and all the coaches took the podium, and each one of them had their story that they wanted to tell and so forth. On media days, as a media member, you're sitting out there. What do you expect and what would you want that you don't get from coaches in those media days? What do you expect from a coach, and then what do you want that you don't probably get from a coach?
I expect all of them to feel like they could win the Big 12.
Okay.
I expect
a la Deion Sanders yesterday.
I feel like all of them are going to say we have all the pieces of the roster that we want. We have all of them to have worked really hard. They've trained, they've conditioned, they've lifted, they've film studied. If their season didn't go well last year on the defensive side of the ball, and they've replaced their defensive coordinator, the narrative is going to be, we've simplified the defense. Okay, nobody has to think. They can just they can react. Right. Okay, because we heard that defensive coordinator after defensive coordinator after defensive coordinator after defensive coordinator. Every year we heard that. Oh, we've simplified the defense. Yeah, we don't have to think. And offensively, we're going to be more productive. Our offensive line is going to be better. Okay. Yeah. Our quarterbacks, he's in year 2. He's in year 3. He the game has slowed down for him. What do I want to hear? I want to hear, hey, you know what? We got challenges at this spot, this spot, this spot. We're not selling enough tickets. We need better fan support. I need better support from my administration. But they're not going to call out people like that. Ben?
So I too fall along those same lines, and to the extent of how when they approach the podium, they talk about their culture and how they want, like here at Texas Tech, their players loving and caring for each other on top of the conditioning, the strengthening, and getting the drill set in and the proper install for the season. But just how they've been able to buy into the program as a whole. Like, that's what I want to hear as a coach. Like, how this team, coaching staff, like, everybody is clicking on all cylinders. And we can talk about all the fancy stuff all day, but it comes down to, in the great words of the great theologian John Madden, this is a family, but you're hitting each other.
Yep.
I would tell you the other thing I would like is just be honest.
Yeah.
Just be honest.
Coach speak is very available at every media day.
Absolutely, and that's what you're going to get. You know that. You know that. And sometimes it's like sometimes you ask the question knowing what the answer is going to be. It's like whether they say the definition of a good lawyer is the good lawyer knows the answer to the question before he asks it. Did you murder him? No, I did not. Okay. What did you know? And when did you know it? Kind of thing. But we know this. We know this. We know there's some questions that just doesn't serve any purpose to ask, because in that environment yesterday, I mean, you're one and done. Okay. Because there's a lot of people there.
Yep.
So you've got to be good, and you've got to be quick, and you've got to be to the point, which very few of those guys were yesterday. And look, it's easy to be critical and fire shots because I wasn't there. But the bottom line is that quick and to the point, and make it simple for him. And then I thought Coach McGuire did a really good job yesterday, because usually he gets a little windy. Yeah. But he was really good on, being in a quote soundbite, which is somewhere between 20, 30 seconds. That's really what you want. Yep. Sometimes he gets in depth, which is great, but it's just hard. You can't put that on the news when he's going a minute and 20 seconds. Yep. And we have some challenges with that from time to time too, because it's just not set up to go, Yep. And I'm just looking at kind of his comments yesterday: minute 14, minute 13, 55, 44, minute 19, and I'm not being critical. It's just it's hard when from his standpoint, trying to get the message out, to do it in a short bit of time and then not be kind of misconstrued or misunderstood. He's trying to get his point across, which I get. But on the other hand, it's like, okay, well, there's only so much time for us as well. Yep.
I kind of wish if I were sitting out there, I would want as much detail as I could get on players. In other words, hey, A.J. Holmes does this extremely well, and we need, just like Terrence Carter said about his blocking, Terrence Carter is really good at running out routes and across the middle and whatever, and we need him to get better at blocking and get into detail about the players that have to get better and what do they have to get better for us to be successful.
And see, I think you can get some of that, but you get that stuff one-on-one.
Yeah. You're right.
You get that stuff one-on-one. And I think the other thing too is, and this is the peek behind the curtain, so to speak, is how do I explain this? So I think the longer that you're in the game from the media side, and the more that you're at the various events, you then you earn the right to be able to ask the tough question, or you earn the right to be able to ask a question that maybe is a little bit more in depth.
Right.
And and I think that gets recognized by the person that's answering the question, because if that's somebody that's there all the time, they answer the question differently than if it's a one-off.
Yeah.
Now, the guy that was there that asked the confusing, clumsy question, he's there all the time, but he's not there all the time in front of Brett Yormark, because Brett Yormark's not in Lubbock very often and doesn't take those questions.
Yep.
But, I mean, Barry Trammell asked a question, and he got a great answer.
Yeah.
But Barry Trammell has been around for 50 years, and he's kind of earned that right.
Yep.
Don Williams falls in that category. He's earned that right.
Did you hear Barry Tremmel when Yormark said, "Oh, you were here my first day," and he says, "I've been here for a lot of first days."
A lot of first days, right? Yeah. David Collier's a guy that he's earned that right.
Yeah.
And he asks good questions.
Yeah, he does.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Anxious to bring us continuing coverage for the rest of the day on Double T 97.3 and Double T973.com, the Double T Sports Network, YouTube, Roku, whatever. Everything. Fox 34 News 9, we got it all. I mean, you can go right to our Double T 97.3 mobile app presented by Happy State Bank. You click on that, and then you can see video. It's very accessible, okay? And the fellows have done an outstanding job.
They have.
So look forward to hearing more of that today. And you get kind of a peek inside of what the competition looks like because, Texas Tech is done. All right. The big news yesterday from just an on-field thing for Texas Tech was providing that he gets cleared on August the 21st. And I don't know why that's the magical day, but that's the magical day apparently. Then Will Hammond will start at quarterback against Abilene Christian. Here is Joey McGuire talking about Will Hammond's ceiling.
I'm really excited. We know this. I mean, we're talking to, a bunch of Red Raiders right now. We already know this. If Will Hammond doesn't get hurt, we go get a vet quarterback for the room. But, we had our starting quarterback in Will Hammond. I'm really excited. I think he will continue to get better and better and better every single week. I think it's important for us to put him in really good situations early as he grows because he's still a young quarterback. I could be wrong, but I think he's only started 3 games because I think his start was the bowl game against Arkansas, Arizona State, and Oklahoma State. He's played in a bunch of different games, but he's only started 3 games. So I think, the experience, he'll continue to get better. The great thing is he has a great cast around him.
Without question, and Coach McGuire goes on to talk about that talent that is around Will Hammond.
The experience, he'll continue to get better. The great thing is he has a great cast around him. I feel like that we have the potential and the makeup to have our best offensive line that we've had. We've got 3 starters back. The running back room, I think, is the best in the country. Mm-hmm. Texas is the only running back room I think that you could compare it when you're talking about depth and talent. I think we have the best tight end room in the country, and you got real depth there. And we got a really deep wide receiver room and a lot of talent. So I think you got a lot of talent around him, and it allows him to grow. We've got to do a good job of putting him in good situations.
I don't think there's any question about the running back room. I think still – I think the offensive line's just got to continue to prove it. I mean, yep. he said much like he said a couple of years ago he said the offensive line's going to be the strength of this team. It really wasn't. He said I don't want to quote him directly because I don't have the direct quote in front of me, but he said has a chance to be really, really good. And so he made. And I feel like that's the case because it feels like that the depth along the offensive line and the guys that are coming back, anchored by Sheridan Wilson, he's got to stay healthy.
Yep. And
they got to keep away from the pre-snap penalties because that's what's been the killer by the offensive line so much. These pre-snap penalties where you're 1st and 15 or you were 2nd and 4. Now all of a sudden you're 2nd and 9 or you're 3rd and 2 and now you're 3rd and 7 and you put yourself in bad spots where it becomes more obvious in terms of what you have to do.
The last 2 years, an injury on the offensive line has really made a difference, if it's to whoever. I think this year, with the ability of, for instance, Sheridan Wilson, I think he can play a couple of positions. I think he could play guard or he could play offensive center. We've got some guards that can move out to tackles if they had to, and I think Joey this year used the word potential which everybody knows what potential is, just means you haven't done it yet. But I think our offensive line as a group can be, if all things fall the way that you want them to, could be at the end of the year one of the better groups at those positions that you've had in a long, long time.
Yeah.
Experience always helps in the offensive line.
So hopefully that is the case of what we're going to see. But
Chuck, yesterday the USA Today put out their prediction, a preseason predicted order of finish for the Big 12.
Okay.
Texas Tech, BYU, Utah, Houston, Arizona on the first 5. Any qualms to that? Okay, Texas Tech, BYU, Utah, Houston, and Arizona.
I think Houston's going to be closer to the top than they are fourth.
Yep. I'm real surprised. I saw yesterday and some other predictions. There's a lot of people have Charles Davis, one of the announcers on the Big 12 broadcast on the Big 12 channel. He has Utah in the top 3 or 4. I think they're relying real heavy on their quarterback. Devin Dempierre is being able to make a difference, but I'm surprised that Utah is being picked as high as they are by some.
Yeah. I'll say this about Houston. If Houston were to somehow make it to the Big 12 championship game, let's just say make it to the Big 12 championship game, I think the turnaround in the short order that Willie Fritz would have done that in, man, that's kind of Bill Snyder stuff right there.
Yeah. Yep.
Because, I mean, you I say we as a group, fan base, whatever, kind of collectively laugh at Houston and Cougar High and not much fan support and swallowed up by a big city and professional sports and things like that. And even though they've got this hotbed of talent, but surrounded by Texas and A&M and Texas Tech and Baylor, blah, 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 blah.
There was a time, Chuck, Houston was not real high on the list to get into the Big 12.
Right. And so my point is that I know that he inherited a better situation than the guy before him, but, Dana Holgerson couldn't get it turned around there.
No. Worst team in the conference by USA Today, who would you think?
Colorado.
You were close. They're next to last.
Was it West Virginia?
They're third from the last.
Okay.
You're getting close. And it surprised me a little bit that they picked them so low. Nope.
Iowa State.
I guess they're changing coach. They lose Beck, their quarterback. I guess that's all some odds that they have to overcome. But I wouldn't. I don't know that I'd have picked them that low. But
yeah, I think that they've got. I
think Colorado's got a pretty firm hold on that position.
We'll see, right?
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet973.com.